Let's move on. In Madagascar, the defense minister is calling on the country's leaders to end the political crisis in that country by putting aside their disagreements and forming a government of national unity. General Benny Xavier said if a solution was not found, the security forces would intervene as a last resort. His threat comes almost a decade after a coup plunged the East African nation into turmoil. Elections are due later this year, but as rival politicians try to outmaneuver each other through the courts, there's growing anger with the political leadership, and it's not clear when the people of Madagascar will get a chance to vote. Well, 6 months after taking over from ousted President Robert Mugabe, Zimbabwe's new leader, Mnangagwa, has promised to hold free and fair elections this year. He says general elections will take place on July 30th. It will be the first such ballot in a generation that does not include 94-year-old Mr. Mugabe, who ruled Zimbabwe for 37 years. With the death of Mr. Mugabe's longtime rival, Morgan Tsvangirai, a former Labour leader and Prime Minister, last February, the new election will pit 75-year-old Mnangagwa against numerous other opponents. They include 40-year-old Nelson Chamisa, who replaced Mr. Tsvangirai as leader of the Movement for Democratic Change Party. About 5.5 million Zimbabweans have registered to vote in the country's elections. Let's get more on the story from a Zimbabwean journalist, Nigel Nyamutumbo. Thank you for joining us on the program. How are Zimbabweans reacting to the news that the country will hold its first post-Mugabe elections?
Anxiety around the election dates and whether the elections are going to be held at all is sort of sorted now. It's been dealt with by the proclamation. And while there is still anxiety in Zimbabwe around the process, there are still issues that need to be addressed, chief among them being around the polling, the voters' role, and the question around polling stations demarcation, and then the other issues pertaining to the media and so on that opposition political parties have raised. But by and large, the country seems to be geared up and ready for elections.
Some critics have accused President Mnangagwa of being a Mugabe loyalist and of cracking down on rebels in the mid-1980s that rights groups say killed 20,000 civilians. Is this likely to affect the president negatively in the forthcoming polls?
Yes, the fact that he was Mugabe's protege, he understudied him for more than 50 years. He is part and parcel of an administration that has brought about untold suffering on the people of Zimbabwe, may negatively affect him. But look, he has been using this excuse that he is different. He was not the one in charge. He was not the commander-in-chief. And therefore, he should be judged differently. Whether the voters or the electorate will buy that, will have to wait post-30 July.
We understand that there's been some sort of controversy between the leader of the opposition Movement for Democratic Change, MDC, that's Nelson Chamisa, and Rwandan President Paul Kagame. What more can you tell us about that?
Yeah, well, it was a bit irresponsible and immature on the part of the opposition leader, the main opposition political party, to have made unfortunate remarks that he had a working relationship with Rwandan President Paul Kagame, when in actual fact they had only just met. And I think the more that the opposition is not proffering alternative policies, they will only be shooting themselves into the foot. I think they should do more pragmatic politics and less politicking as is synonymous with any electoral, which is normally called silly season.
Well, are there fears within the MDC itself that this controversy could damage the party's chance of success at the elections in July.
Well, look, it could swing the neutral, but I think by and large they've got a strong support base that will not necessarily be shaken. They've got people who have been behind the MDC for years, and those who will likely continue to support the party. But in terms of the neutrals, yes, those that are still to be converted, it will probably affect them.
Much for your thoughts on that, Nigel Yamitumbu speaking to us on Network Africa. Well, still to come on the program. Our Africa Tech segment focuses on educating children living in slum areas on science and technology, the usefulness of it. Please stay with us.